looking at the systems of our abattoir system in Nigeria is evolving. We're still, it's good that we've had a typical example of what an abattoir is supposed to be. And abattoir in Nigeria is still at the infantry stage. And so we don't have the organized structure, as it were, that is supposed to be that's supposed to be seen in abattoir. Yes, the abattoirs are approved and licensed, so to speak, but all the complements that go with it is not fully in place. So we have situations whereby we don't have proper process control, and the animals are not monitored. And looking at the global benchmark for abattoirs as established by CODES and FAO, they have set up a number of guidelines that is supposed to be what all the abattoirs are supposed to follow as a standard, as a guidelines. And there ought to be the guidelines kind of helps to focuses on having a well outlined facility, having a routine cleaning event, having also having a knowledgeable workforce, because without the knowledgeable workforce, they will not be able to enforce the safety of the carcasses. And so a number of the hygiene management is kind of by the CODES is in different status. They look at the hygiene of the facility hygiene, which it has to do with the location of the abattoir, siting of the abattoir, which shouldn't be in a flooded area. The size has to do with the number of animals that ought to be killed. It shouldn't be in a crowded environment, and there ought to be water availability. The water can be from the mains or from a borehole, but there must be water. And also the issues of the hygiene of the equipment used, the knives, the tables. The tables ought to be non-corrosive, not wooden tables as we have in Nigeria. And you also have the issue of sanitary facility, and this includes there should be toilets, there should be restroom, because the workers are not supposed to be eating in the environment of the processing. They're supposed to rest if they want to, so they have to rest if they wish, and then other cleaning agents. And then you have the process hygiene itself. The process hygiene, I will talk about it a little bit. And also you have the environmental hygiene that has to do with, having to fence the facility needs to be fenced to make sure that dogs and other wild animals are not, allowed into the premises. And then you also have the issue of protection against pests, whether rodents, insects, or birds. You have to be, so because these things could be a source of contamination to the product. Then you have the issue of the hygiene, personal hygiene of the workers, where you have to look at, there must be hand washing facilities in the environment. They have to be trained on the issue of hand washing, so that they do not carry disease onto be a source of contamination to the meat and the meat products, as the case may be. And there are also issues of their health. Their health, needs to be checked that they are not ill, because ill workers will invariably, transmit if they are, carry some viral loads. They have viral infection. They could carry those viral infections and transmit it to the food. And also you have to have the cleaning and disinfection hygiene. And so the abattoir ought to have a routine process of cleaning and regular disinfection to ensure that, you know, there are no traces of contamination. So you, in the code, the 2005 Codex Code for abattoirs, it also stipulates that, you know, the process hygiene has to be, divided into the clean area and the dirty area. You know, so there is a complete segregation of the clean area and the dirty area. The folks who work in the dirty area are not allowed to crisscross into the areas of the clean area. And it starts from the dirty areas, starts from the larynx when the animals are received, and in those pen is supposed to be clean with paved floor, and there should be a lot of water availability for the animals to drink their food, and it has to be clean, um, uh, often. There has to be a regular cleaning regime so that is not on its own be a source of contamination. You know, the animals are supposed to be washed before they are even sent to the slaughter. Then the next stage is the post-antemortem, which you have, to look at, whether the animals are fit for slaughter, or if they are not fit for slaughter, what is the reason? Is it going to be condemned? But the ones that are fit for slaughtering are now sent to stoning, and from stoning they are, slaughtered and then bled, and then, that is the dirty area. Then it goes into the evisceration, which is a clean area. The clean area now, after the evisceration, the opening up, then they will check for the post-mortem examination will be done by the vet to check if the carcasses or offals have any, disease conditions, and all that, and which is followed by, removal of the offals and the boning and cutting and delivery, etc., etc. So you see that is a very well-lined process operation, and it's supposed to be linear. The abattoir, the standard stipulates that the process is supposed to be, setting up your process operation has to be linear, but that's not what we have in Nigeria. Everything is, it's not as it ought to be, but it's a work in progress, and what does that mean? What does that mean? So the challenges we have is that, sick animals, because of the ineffective inspection system, and the sick animals could be passed for slaughter. That's number one. Number two, animals with, residues, antibiotic residues can also be passed for slaughter. And so it could, which could also result in antibiotics, antibacterial resistance, contamination of the meat. And what is the essence? The challenges of eating a meat that has the microbial resistance in the product. It means that, ordinarily the infection that would have reacted, you would have treated with a small dose or first line of antibiotics, like something like Septrin, would now be resistant to the antibiotics. So you need a higher level of dosage, something like the stronger antibiotics to treat the infections. And this is a very strong public health issue, because everybody everybody is susceptible to the exposure of antibacterial resistance of antibiotics, and the elderly are prone to it, the children, the immunocompromised. So everybody across the life cycle can have those challenges of having antibiotics resistance of, through meat consumption. You also have issues of, heavy metal contamination that could arise from use of tires or plastics, that they often used for singing of the animals like sheep, like cow, like cattle. And these tires and rubbers, have heavy metal contaminants, heavy metals that could be deposited on the meat. Things like mercury, things like lead, which have been known to cause cancer. So this could be a source of, unwholesome, could be a source of, contamination to the meat. And, so these are issues that, has to be resolved, and also you find out that even the delivery of the meat by the butchers, if the butchers go to the abattoir to get get the meat, and their mode of transportation, it's not very hygienic. Sometimes they carry it on wheelbarrow, on the trucks. But government of Nigeria is beginning to work on it, that they are beginning to. Recently, they supplied a number of temperature control vehicles, and we are believing that, it would be sustained, so that, all the issues of, abuse of handling of meat in an uncompromised manner will be a thing of the past. So what are the, going forward, what do we want? First, we know that, since abattoir it can be a point of checking the, at a point that you can check disease conditions of the animal, as well as check residues in the animal, residues, antibiotics residue. Therefore, if it's properly managed, we can, make sure that unwholesome meat does not get into the public for consumption. So, meaning that we need to first and foremost update the laws and the policies that is guiding these abattoirs, and also insist on its enforcement, because laws are one thing, but if it's not enforced, like the first speaker said, you saw how stringent the laws are enforced. So the laws need to be enforced about everything that has to be done in the abattoir has to be enforced. The process hygiene has to be enforced. And, if it's enforced, then everybody can be assured that what you are eating. So the modernization of the abattoir needs to take place, because we need to move forward, and it needs to be modernized. And apart from that, we also need to modernize the way and update the delivery system of the that is operational in abattoir. So I'd like to take questions from the audience. Thank you so much.